This video is sponsored by Tokyo Treats and Sakurako. More on them a little later. Welcome back to another video, everybody. And right now, I'm kind of into a Genshin Impact Reddit rabbit hole. As you can see, another post, another video that's revolved around a Reddit post. Now this one actually I've talked about in the past. It's just that I've never had a chance to fully fledge it out and talk to you guys about it here in a video. If you guys want all off the rails conversations, discussions, you can feel free to join my live stream. However, unfortunately, I will be going to China for at least a foreseeable few months to half a year, give or take, right? Like 6 months is the most likely I'll be gone. Minimum, I'll be gone for 2 months. All right. So just saying, if you want, you can still catch 4 more live streams before I depart on August 14th. So make sure to tune into my live stream. There's 4 more of that. We're going to be talking about all sorts of different stuff, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, yada yada yada. Okay, so today we're talking about not all evil characters need to be redeemed to be playable, because it seems like EROWAL does not want to release a playable character that is still kind of as our opposition. Apparently only good units, good faithful characters can be played, or character does have the, as we would like to say, join the light side or join the side of the good people. Why is that? And this post is saying that maybe it doesn't have to be like that. Now, there's 2 ways we can look about this. I'm going to be sharing some of my background as somebody who has worked in writing stuff for Chinese companies that were to be published, which undergoes incredible scrutiny and revision by the government. That might sound weird from you guys, but I'm just going to tell you guys right now, if you want to publish things for the general media to consume, in China, you need to have all of your work evaluated. It has to follow proper guidelines, or else it would just be denied, and you can rewrite it, you can resubmit it, but that's just the process. And I told you guys over a year ago that this likely is what also Genshin Impact has to do because of their title being published, especially to the youth, right? China is very sensitive to this stuff. So sometimes maybe it's not because EROWAL is trying to be this very stubborn company only allowing good characters to be playable, but maybe it's just like the whole idea of letting a villain becoming a playable character, and then the idolizing of these villains could be seen as problematic. But what you will have no problem with is Tokyo Treats and Sakurako. With these Japanese snack boxes, you get to taste a piece of modern Japan's otherworldly variety of snacks, as well as its rich traditional culture behind it. For the Tokyo Treat Box subscription, you will get a monthly delivery of Japan's most popular modern snacks. This one is for those who just can't get enough of variety and craves that unique flavor that only Japanese snacks can deliver. With the Tokyo Treats box, I have always been blown away by the amount of Kit Kat flavors there are. It is getting close to 1 year since I first partnered up with Tokyo Treats, and I have yet to receive the same flavor of Kit Kat twice, and I don't think I will anytime soon. On the other hand, the Sakurako box offers a traditional taste of Japan, and each month will have a different highlighted prefecture and their cultural snack making techniques represented in the box of snacks you will receive. Throughout the many months of trying these Sakurako boxes, I've noticed that they offer a more mild yet homey taste as compared to the Tokyo Treat snacks, which has a ton of flavor and flair to them, ultimately making Sakurako snacks very good for something to share with your family over some tea, whereas Tokyo Treats would be ideal for a movie night. Regardless of which box you choose, I'm confident that you will learn something about Japan's rich culture of snacks that has endured for centuries. And of course, for a limited time, if you would like to try out these snack boxes, you can use my code when checking out to receive a discount. Again, thank you to Tokyo Treats and Sakurako for sponsoring this video. Just letting you know that that is likely happening on the side, but let's talk about the more interesting and more fun side of this discussion, which is how will we write a good character to be both playable and also potentially evil? So right now, the character they're talking about is Arlecchino. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's the lady in Fontaine. It's a Fatui harbinger in Fontaine. Apparently, lore-wise, she kind of indoctrinates children, raising them, here it says, brainwashing them into joining the Fatui, which is evil. Taking the innocence of children and kind of twisting them into serving this antagonistic organization is very evil. All right, so just like Scaramouche, when we first saw him as this ruthless, no mercy character. Then eventually, oh, suddenly he's so sad because he was abandoned as a child and he wandered the earth trying to find reason for his existence and yada blah blah blah, and all try to justify the bad that he did prior. I've mentioned this as well, is that that doesn't sit well with me, and it doesn't sit well with a lot of people. First and foremost, it doesn't show that his character has really changed much. He's been a bratty kind of character since we met him, arrogant, egotistical. He's still a bratty, arrogant, egotistical character, right? Like, that growth never seemed to happen. So now we're supposed to just accept him as who he is, and because we know his backstory, even though Scaramouche wasn't really the one who like sat down with us and told us his backstory, like, oh, forgive me. No, it's just so through the story as a third party, we got to know his past, and somehow, I don't know if this is what Genshin or miHoYo wants, somehow is that supposed to justify what he did, or it's supposed to get us to feel sympathy for what he did afterwards? But because there was a lack of mother or father figure, nobody to guide them, he kind of had all this power, and eventually people who didn't want to do any good in the world, at least from our perspective right now, found him and abused his power, or kind of tricked him into doing bad things for them. So he was this innocent boy who basically got misled into doing all these bad things, right? That was chalking it up as that, supposed to justify him doing bad. It doesn't sit well with me, right? Like, still in the end, it was he who used his power for bad. But again, we could argue, if you were born and bred into this world to do evil things, you would naturally just be an evil person because you had no other choice. That was Scaramouche's way out. So is there going to be a way out for Arlecchino? Like, are they going to use the same trope? I don't think so. Maybe she has a terrible backstory as well, which kind of forced her into doing this. Or what if she was protecting these children all along? Because if not, they were going to be used for like even more horrific things by the Tsaritsa or by another organization. So like, these children had no choice. They were never going to survive other ways. So ultimately, she took the best of the worst situation. Wow, suddenly then she becomes a saint. Oh, she really cared about them. That's why she did all this stuff. Like, let's say she sacrificed bits and pieces of her sanity, or she had to pledge loyalty to an organization she didn't necessarily want to, but for the sake of the children, she had to, right? And she did all these bad things, ended up even on the outside looking as if she was serving them up to be brainwashed and indoctrinated into this terrible organization, but it was for the better good. But that's just my interpretation, right? That could be how it goes, but this post has another idea. So basically, they're saying that we could see the Traveler teaming up with Harbingers to take down either Celestia or the Abyss Order, or both, depending on how they go about Celestia. I'm still kind of not sure if they're the bad guys in this story. This has been like a fan theory for the longest time. It seems like Celestia has never really been painted as this all good doing entity or existence. It seems like there's a lot of suffering that has been brought about Teyvat due to the decisions made by the gods of Celestia. So the Fatui also has made it very clear that they're fighting against this, and the same as the Archons doesn't even seem like they're all in line with what Celestia has done. So it's just all pointing to that Celestia is not a good thing to have. And also with our existence in this world, the twins, right, being separated from the very start of the story, and it was presented to us that the sustainer of Heavenly Principle was kind of this not good person. So it isn't by the stretch of the imagination to think that maybe in the end, everybody's just going to turn against Celestia. Maybe even the Archons are going to join side with us. Some Archons have lost their gnosis and Zhongli willingly giving it up. There's a hint towards their eventual betrayal towards Celestia. So like, all these things that are still sitting dormant in the story may get resolved. And this theory saying that, this could be a way out for Hoyoverse to make evil characters playable, which, in my opinion, I never thought that evil characters should not be playable, because at the end of the day, these are all just fictional characters, a part of a story, and whether we play the good guys, the bad guys, as long as they're interesting characters, I have no reason to believe that they should not be playable. But it leads back to the whole thing I mentioned at the beginning of the video. That could be seen as a problem. So maybe it's not so much Hoyoverse doesn't want it, but it's very difficult for these characters and their kids and their existence to get past government regulations, at least in China. However, with all that said, None of this changes the fact that Hoyoverse has made it very clear that no evil characters can be playable characters in their titles. Unfortunately, this doesn't really bode well for someone like La Signora, which even to her dying breath, she was pretty evil, right? And people are still holding on to hope just because they love the character design and she has this mommy figure, and basically they just love her from head to toe. They think that, well, she should be playable. But unless somewhere in the future of Genshin's storyline they kind of flip the tables and prove to us that the entirety of the Fatui are good characters, maybe then La Signora would be playable. I don't ever see the day that La Signora would come back and become a playable character. However, if we're on the topic of stories, I do think Genshin has made a very good representation of good and evil. If you look from both perspectives, once the end of the game comes around, I do believe that from the Fatui's perspective, they may be right. And also from the protagonist's perspective, maybe they were right. And ultimately, I don't see them being at odds with each other towards the end of the story as well. It's just that they were put into different circumstances and they had to come up with ways to not only survive but help the people around them to also survive and to push for a better Teyvat that for one doesn't have as much suffering as what they had gone through. But again, that's just my take. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. What do you guys think? Do you guys want all the evil characters to be playable? I'm sure you guys want it, but do you guys think from a regulation perspective, does it even make sense to limit things to this extent? So leave your comments down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, urge you all to stay safe. Peace, bye bye.